Hey YouTube, it's Petey Twofinger here, and I wanted to talk about. Oh yeah, look at that! I got a real lot of light. So, October 17th of 2019, The Who released a promo video for their "Who Are You," which is a title track, I believe, off of a Who album. Everybody knows that song. Now, The Who is one of those bands that seemingly I could compare them to Walt Disney, where Walt Disney has set a precedent. They are untouchable and on a league of their own. So you kind of expect a high quality level of perfection. And if you're going to complain about one of their releases, most often you're just nitpicking. They set the bar. And bands like the Beatles, not a bad song in their catalog. I mean, maybe Revolution number 9, but still, it's kind of cool, and you can play it backwards. You don't like it? Try it in reverse. So they released this footage, and it's golden. You have Roger Daltrey crammed up in a little vocal booth, getting away with an F bomb on a radio staple. We're talking about this song was on the radio daily. You could set your clock all the time. And that was one of the reasons why maybe The Who seemed overplayed, like Led Zeppelin. When I was coming up in the 80s, there were bands that you would hear daily. And my thing was I got resentment about that because I really was fanatic for Pink Floyd. And I felt that Pink Floyd, uh, again, didn't really have any bad material in its career. Like they were really a wonderful band, and like I could count on one hand for all the times that I heard the song "Sheep" on the radio. I maybe heard that song 3 to 5 times, but on these rock stations, I would be hearing the Eurythmics, synthesizer stuff coming in, creeping in, and then like songs like "Can't You See What That Woman Done to Me," hearing that 4 times a day, hearing Black Dog 6 times a day, Stairway constantly. Ended up developing resentment towards bands like Led Zeppelin and Aerosmith. Even The Who was overplayed. And The Who is one of those bands that, like, they not only did they set a precedent, but they really were incredibly unique. You had the bass player doing stuff nobody had ever done, where he was more like a bass player and a rhythm guitar player, even a lead player, I should say, because as his playing, if you pay attention to it, it's very melodic, and it gave room for Pete Townsend, the guy who was writing the music, to do all sorts of different things with his guitar. Keith Moon, 2 of the guys in the video have passed, so you're seeing a ghost when you're watching it. Keith Moon, if you survey drummers who play aggressive or hard rock music from that era and on, you would see a good percentage of them, at least 20%, I would guess, and maybe a lot higher, reference this guy as an influence. As the great rock and roll drummers of the time, we see John Bonham from Led Zeppelin at the top of that list. And Keith Moon would certainly be in probably the top 5. Getting back to the Ox, their bass player, he developed the style and a sound. His tone was overdriven, where that was kind of a new thing. So we have a lot of pioneering, and then also the fact that half of the people in the video are ghosts. Pete Townsend, the guy who writes all the music, is jumping around, even though they're in the studio. And there's just some really wonderful moments in this video that just came out. It's 10 days old. Who Are You? Perhaps the Who's most famous song. And I like all that late Who music. I like all of their whole career was fantastic. And they did mature. They started using these arpeggiated synthesizer. The ARP is the name of that synth. Imminence Front, Who Are You, Teenage Wasteland. I love all that late Who music. Even Athena is a great song to me. You'd better, you'd better, you bet. I love The Who, and I like the old stuff quite a bit. But the new stuff is my preference. Now, during this video, we see Keith Moon, of course, wailing on the drums, and he's doing this Moon the Goon. He's making these loony faces where he'll come in for a drum roll, and at the camera, he's doing a lot of this. These just insane, goofy faces. There's a segment where they have the. Did I mention the lead singer drops an F bomb? You get to see that. Who the fuck are you? And right in there, and it was like, we're gonna ignore that and just play it on FM radio. And if you're not aware of that, give a listen. Pay attention next time you're hearing that. Once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Better yet, watch the video for yourself. Spoilers, I'm gonna ruin the video for you. There's a segment where all three of them, minus Roger Daltrey, the lead vocalist, are gathered around a single condenser mic and they're doing background vocals. And the song kind of drops off, and there's 2 measures of fill where it kind of calms down and gets quiet. And then this acoustic guitar rings out, this like staccato line. This thing comes in, and in the video it drops off, and right away we see Keith Moon air drumming, miming along to that part. He comes in and he's early, and so he makes this like shocked face, and then we see, of course, Townsend is like got his arms full. He's just watching this clown show that Moon the Loon is constantly hamming it up. We get to see that. We've all read and heard about Keith Moon's legendary insane goony antics that he did, his Curly from the Three Stooges show that he constantly put on. So you get to see that. You get to see Entwistle and Pete Townsend are both watching him the whole time because they don't know what he's going to do next. And of course, he won't let us down. He's putting on a show, making the goofy faces, and they're both just like, they're not laughing because they know this guy never stops. There's a scene where they're all clapping because at the end there's hand claps, and they must multi-track that quite a few times. I'm guessing they ran through that probably around 6 or 8 times with just the 3 of them clapping. I have a song which we call the snappin' clappin' song because you would, and the name was later changed, but I had my wife and I with a condenser mic, and we over-tracked that. I thought, oh, well, it'll take us maybe about 4 tracks, I told her. And we did more like about, I want to say, 12 to 16 tracks to get it to sound as full as it is on the recording. I had done Destroy All Monsters, Petey, Two-Fingers, Crock-a-Pucky, Analog Orphans, which is a collection of 33 demos. We have I'll Buy That for $1, double album full of demo music that I did for the likes of Devi Ever, GDMC, and Vic Audio, and more. And we have Minor Technical Difficulties and Digitally Delayed. Then we have Shrimpy and the Peas, self-titled, and a double album with 13. Also, I should say Digitally Delayed is a double album, and Analog Orphans is a double album. So that's 11 discs worth of like mastered demo songs that I've recorded in my lifetime. That's a plug for me. If you're new here and you haven't checked out my music, I had a lawnmower accident and I can only play with these 2 fingers here on my fret hand. So check out Minor Technical Difficulties or Digitally Delayed. They're on this YouTube channel. Give my music a shot. Now it's interesting stuff. My wife plays bass on the second one because we've got a duo. Now back to the topic at hand. They're doing this clapping routine, and in there on one of them you see Keith Moon do this like Curly from the Three Stooges kind of disco move, and then he comes back in with it. The next time that beat comes around, You see Entwistle do the same thing, but he comes in wrong, and there's one sour clap that's out of place, and that's on the original recording. You actually can hear that. I'm guessing once you, like the "Who the fuck are you?" Once you hear this, you're never going to be able to unhear it, but you're going to have to listen close for that out of place clap. So the point of this entire video, this came up on my timeline on I'm going to say it was 2 days ago. It was the 25th of October 2019, and it was released on the 17th, so it's about a week old, and there was 116 thumbs down on this video. As of today, there's 129. Let's see, I'm looking at it now. Yeah, it said 129 thumbs down. So this begs the question, who are these people that are thumbing down the Who? Who are you? Are they people that are mentally ill, that have developed a grudge against the Who? That the minute a video comes out, they automatically load it up and thumb it down and then X out? Because this is a thing, and people that have YouTube channels that have been around for a while will tell you that they've offended people, and that those people have a grudge and that they'll come back. And the minute your video is uploaded to YouTube, these people will load it up, thumb it down, and X out. They won't even watch it. Which actually, if you're in the know, you realize this is helpful, because it's someone clicking on your video. So it actually helps you. But at the same time, I don't think that's the case with the Who. I think there's people that don't like the Who. They don't like Roger Daltrey. They don't like British people. Whatever it is. I'm like kind of shocked in this, that like, if I don't like, let's say I don't like reggaeton, I'm not going to go to a reggaeton channel and just start thumbing down. Like, I've got better things to do with my time. So I live and let live. But this begs the question, who are you? Who are these people that are thumbing it down? So if you got any idea, if you can help me to understand this anymore, I'd really love to hear your reasonings on this. And definitely check it out. I'll leave some links in the description to this stuff. You can check out the Who. And if you haven't, hey, why not? Put on one of my albums next time you've got some time. We'll say you're going to be changing strings on your guitar or polishing it. I got videos on all that type of stuff here. But you'd probably you probably know all that by now, right? Why not give it a shot? What do you got to lose? Hear what a crippled guy with 2 fingers sounds like trying to play a guitar. That ought to be fun. That ought to make you feel good about yourself. In any event, you guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm Petey Twofinger. I love you guys, and peace.